All right. So the one aspect of the brain I want to talk about today is the hemispheres of the brain. So of course, we all know we have two hemispheres of the brain that are connected by this bridge called the corpus callosum, and a couple of interesting. So our brains work. Certain things happen more effectively in the right side versus the left side, but both sides of our brain are working all the time. It's not like we suddenly decide to sleep. I think there's some animals that do that. I think there's some maybe sharks or some sort of animal in the sea lets one half of their brain sleep while the other half is awake, and that's just fascinating. But that's not how human brains work. We are using both halves of our brain all the time, and they cross the signals between one side and the other cross through this corpus callosum, and the corpus callosum is a very interesting aspect of our brain. A couple of studies that I've recently read. One, does everybody remember the movie Rain Man? The savant that was in that movie. One of the things that can happen with people who have neurodivergent brains is that this corpus callosum cannot work as well, and so the halves of the brain work really well, but maybe not communicating so well with each other. And that was one of the things that they discovered about his brain, is that his corpus callosum wasn't perfectly functioning. Um, so there's a lot you can do to kind of marry the two halves of the brain and help them work harmoniously with each other. And a lot of times when we've been through a lot of stress and a lot of trauma, we can have a disconnection between these two halves of the brain. It doesn't mean anything's necessarily going wrong with our corpus callosum, but our signals are not crossing well across the two sides, and we can kind of live a little bit more segmentally. And so the left side of our brain is very much involved in, task oriented, more of a narrow vision. We have, like mapping, and a little bit less about our emotional states. There's past, present, future, kind of making sense of things happens there. But there's a little bit less global awareness of our emotional states. And then in the right hemisphere of our brain, we see the big picture a little bit better. We have much more ability to have emotional expression. And we can also sense threat in this side of our brain as well. So we, can have that vigilance of scanning our whole picture environment for the sense of safety and threat. And when we're stressed or have trauma, sometimes these two halves don't communicate very well with each other. You can imagine with every test we do, we need both halves to be kind of helping each other in this, even if one is, the leader. When physically, when we do yoga, this is where we can really integrate a lot of these things. So if you do find yourself kind of living left brain or living right brain, we can have our yoga practice support us in kind of merging the gaps or bridging the gaps across that corpus callosum. So the things that help, and Maggie, I'll get to your question. Here, wait, let me look at the clip. You just wrote another question, so let me see. Is my right eye associated with the left part of my brain or right side? That's more complex. Your vision is in the back of your vision's actually a very complicated thing, and the sense you think your vision would be up here, right? But it's not. It's back here where the brain, and there is a cross, but not entirely. So I asked that question this weekend in the course, and I didn't get a clear answer. So I don't think that you can determine that, if I see better with my left eye, I must have better coordination with my right side or vice versa or something like that. Also, which side of the brain senses threat? Oh, I just said that, the right side of the brain is more in touch with the global awareness of things and the emotional connection of things. And that can be both in the sense of beauty, like watching a sunset, and the pleasure and the experience we have. Often in that state is our right brain feeding us a little bit of information, but also because that global awareness is where we sense threat as well, that this is part of our brain that kind of, and so when you have stress or trauma, and people can either have detachment or hypervigilance, that can be, which side of the brain is kind of like firing up a little bit more in response to threat. Maybe not the perception of threat, but the response to threat. So if you're hypervigilant, that right hemisphere of the brain is going to be kind of scanning the environment. And if you are feeling more detached emotionally, you're moving more into that linear brain, that left hemisphere of the brain. So that it's very complex, and that's just teeny little bit of information about it. There's so much more, but really the heart of the matter is what can we do to integrate? And yoga is so good for this. We have so much capacity for rhythmic movement is helpful, contralateral movement where you're moving, one limb on one side of the body and another limb on the other side of the body, cross lateral movements where we're crossing our midline and then returning to bilateral stimulation, kind of equalizing on the two sides. And think about how often we do this in yoga. We do it every practice. Very rarely would you meet up with a yoga practice that didn't have some contralateral movement, some cross-lateral movement, and some bilateral movement. And then the other thing that you can do in your yoga practice is your left hemisphere of your brain is helping you with trajectory of movement, like where you're moving your arm in space, but the right side of your brain is focused more on proprioception. Where are you in space? So when you're moving, when you're trajecting a limb in space, which we do all the time, but then trying to figure out where you are in space, that's joining the two sides of the brain together. All right, so that's just a lot of information, and there's, oh my gosh, so much more. But to really just sum it up is that our yoga practice very much helps us integrate, have brain integration, so that we can feel whole and we can feel balanced and have a state of coherence. And the word coherence really comes into play not just with the brain, but with the heart. So the electromagnetic realms that our heart and our brain live in, when we are synced up and feeling in a safe and social and happy and contented place, we have a lot of coherence in our nervous system and in our electromagnetic system around our heart as well. So there's a organization called Heart Math. If anyone has heard of that, I recommend it to go to their website. They do a lot with heart rate variability and various stuff. But this is a very quick technique I learned. It's called quick coherence. So let's begin with this. Okay. So that's a lot of brainy information that I just kind of threw out at you. So let's just take a moment to drop in to the awareness of your body. Okay, so ground yourself into your pelvis, your legs, feel your roots settle down. Start to pay attention to sense of ease coming, let your shoulders relax, your face relax. And let's find, this is where the quick coherence begins. Let's find our heart. So the first step is to just become aware of the heart space, the physical heart space in your body. Just start to kind of bring your attention into the heart. What are you feeling? Is there a sense of heaviness or lightness? Do you have a sense of any physical sensation? Whatever you're sensing there, let's stay. And then the second step is to just start to breathe slowly, to bring your awareness into the heart space and let your breath kind of regulate with this sensation that you're feeling. Whatever the sensation of your heart is, perhaps your breath can help you to expand this sensation a little bit more, both on the inhale and the exhale. And then the third step of this quick coherence is just to activate a positive feeling. So try for maybe an appreciation. So when you have this awareness of the heart, Let's think of something in the here now that you are appreciative or grateful for. Maybe it could be a person or the way your body feels at ease, or something in your environment that is very pleasing to you. Whatever it is, maybe it's your cat that just walked by and you grazed their soft fur for a little bit, or your dog. So just have gratitude for something in this moment. And if you'd like, you can put your hands over your heart and just notice the change. Such a subtle, easy, simple, quick thing to do. This quick coherence. But notice the changes in you. Are you more present? Are you more conscious of your body and space? Are you more, are you calmer? Do you have that feeling of coherence in both the mind and the body, the mind and the heart? And even if you don't get all the way there to where you're now in a very relaxed, calm state, hopefully you got a little bit there. It's something very simple, very easy to do. So kind of keep that one in your toolkit. Release your hands now. Just feel your whole being. Take a big breath in and a full breath out. Place your palms together at your heart and feel into this mudra, this heart-centered mudra. Bow your head, and again, can you feel this convergence of the thinking mind, the feeling heart, and the doing hands? In this place, set an intention. And let's imagine here this bridge in the very center of our brain, our corpus callosum. Think about a bridge that you've walked across that is wide and spacious. Imagine this inside your own mind, your own brain, where there's this easy flow of information across neurons, crossing your two hemispheres, connecting your two hemispheres. And in this place of connection and wholeness, let's offer an intention again. Use your hands. Just a bit more sitting and then we'll get going. We're going to start with alternate nostril breathing. Excuse me. I'm going to take our right hand onto our nostrils, right at the top of your nostrils instead of right at the tip of your nostrils. And see if you can seek the midline with your body. So try not to tip your head over or turn your head, but stay centered. And all of you have done this before. So we're going to close off the right nostril and breathe in through the left. And as you do this, so we're breathing in through the left, and then we're going to close off the left and breathe out through the right. And then when you're ready, you can breathe in through the right and then switch. So it's just an out breath and in breath, and switch sides. As you are doing this, notice if one side is a little bit more blocked than the other. This is very normal. There's a lot of studies out that the nostrils are open on one side when the opposite side of the brain is working and is more alive, more online. And we switch. We have dominance of left and right hemispheres throughout the day. And our nostrils will always tell us which part we are in dominance of right now. So just notice for yourself, do you have more blockage in one side than the other? And when we breathe in this way and we cross these pathways of our sinuses and of our nasal passageways, we are stimulating this bilateral unity, this syncing up of the two hemispheres of our brain. It's a very simple way to become in relationship between our left and right. But besides the mechanics of this, focus on your brain itself. Can you feel into a sense of ease? Can you allow your whole brain to be refreshed and receive the stimulation of this breath? This time you breathe out through the left side of your nose. We'll complete it there. So take your time, get to that place on your own natural rhythm. And once you feel that exhale come out through your left, take your hands away. And just have a moment of feeling the full breath of both sides of your nose. And then when you're ready, and no rush if your breathing is taking, if you're a nice slow breather, no rush. But when you're ready, come to lie down on your back. All right. So as we stretch out and lengthen our body, let's enjoy. Okay, so remember, if we're wanting to work with this left-right brain integration, we're going to work with contralateral movements and cross-lateral movements today. But let's begin with some simple bilateral movements. So stretch your arms overhead and feel that reach and length in your body, both sides. And let's start with a little bit of that ipsilateral movement, that one-sided movement. So stretch your right side and then stretch your left side. And just feeling how the two halves can function in, they don't have to be doing the same thing. Isn't it a miracle that our bodies have all these capacities to move ipsilaterally or homolaterally, and that we also have this ability to cross the hemispheres and to have contralateral movements. All right, so bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. Let your back relax. You can rock a little bit if it feels nice. And let's circle. I'm rolling through the pelvis here, feeling your low back relax. Other way. Just feel that ease. And then third way, open your knees away from the midline and back in. Just getting your hips warmed up a little bit. And then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and start to wake up your feet. Move around and wiggle your toes. Start to feel into that breath that you felt before when we were doing that heart math technique, quick coherence. Can you center your attention into the heart? Can you still awaken that sense of gratitude and let your breath be deep and slow? Left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground. Keep wiggling your feet or flexing point or whatever's going to warm things up. And then relax your legs. Stretch out like a star, feeling that whole body self reaching outward. Then exhale, knees into your chest. Pick up your head. One more time. Stretch your body wide. Feel that sense of reach. And then close it on up. Bring your knees, hugging them in. Relax your head and feet back down onto the ground. Bring your arms out to the sides. Feet a little wider than hip width or hip width, your choice. And let's just start moving our knees left and right. And as we move into this crossing the midline pattern of windshield wipering our knees, perhaps move your head in the opposite direction of your knees so you kind of complete that spiral of cross lateral movement. How's your breath? Rhythmic movements like this, where we're doing oppositional work, is really good for this brain integration. Think about how you feel when you take a walk and how often
Problem solving happens in those moments when you are doing rhythmic, um, contralateral work in your body. All right, let's keep our knees up in the air, feet hip width apart. Let's cross our right arm over our left arm. Give yourself a hug. 2 hands on opposite shoulders. Find your breath here. Deep breath in, deep breath out. All right, let's open the arms up and change. Cross them the other way. Other arm on top. Finding your breath. I'm going to move this into a little bit of supine eagle. So let's cross our right thigh over our left thigh, and we're going to take our left arm over our right, eagle arms. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, compress and knees and elbows coming in toward each other. And then inhale, put your foot and head back down on the ground. Twice more. Exhaling to draw in toward the midline. Inhale to head and foot come down. One more time. And this time we're going to open up, finding that big open space on the ground, starfish your body, and then we're going to switch sides. Okay, so now as you have your, so you always want to, whenever you're doing eagle, whether it's lying down or standing up or sitting, we want to have oppositional arm on top. So whatever leg is on top, your opposite arm is on top. Take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, hug in. Inhale, foot and head come back down. Exhale, draw it in. One more time. This time we'll open up to a star. Spread your wings wide. Exhale, knees into your chest, rolling over to your side and coming up onto your hands and your knees. Let's start moving through some cat-cows here. All right, so as we find the yielding weight of our hands and our knees and shins on the ground, just start to enjoy the mobility of the spine. A full inhale, full exhale. Returning home to that bilateral movement pattern where we're doing the same things on each sides, the congruence that happens here. And then come off that bilateral nature and wag your tail or roll around in your ribs or lift one shoulder and drop the other or turn your head or turn and look out of your tail. Whatever feels good. See if you can just let the spine have a freedom of movement, warming things up. Come into our threading the needle. So left arm lifting up in the air. Exhale, slide that shoulder under. Feel that crossing of the midline. Relax your gaze downward toward the floor. Keep the back of the neck at ease. Now reach that arm back up in the air. Place the hand down onto the ground. Switch sides, arm lifting. Exhale, drop it underneath. Finding your breath. Indeed, full integration of the inhale and the exhale, feeling it move in your body. When you're ready, lift that arm all the way back up again. Hand comes down onto the ground. Find that balance again. Equal weight hands, equal weight feet or knees. And let's turn this into bird dog. Right leg stretching out behind you, left arm out in front of you. Extend and lengthen, hug into the center so your core is supporting you. Press your shin into the ground so your hip is supporting you. All right, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, elbow and knee come underneath you. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale. Bring it in. Just noticing where your balance is at, where your mind is at. Let's place that hand and knee down onto the ground. Switching sides. Okay, so as you come into this movement pattern, can you feel the integration of your core stabilizing you? Your back body is in support of you. Your hips are helping you. See if you can feel that reach of one arm and the opposite leg. And then we're going to hug on in. Bring that elbow and knee underneath you. And as you inhale, bring it out. Exhale. Elbow and knee come to touch or get close or even go past. Bringing it on out. Last time. Elbow and knee find each other. Bringing it on out. Place that hand down onto the ground and let's come into dog pose. So as you extend upward in the body, and with my shoulder injuries, shoulder surgery, I have lost a lot of this contralateral capacity, and I can feel it in my brain, the lack of coherence that I haven't been able to reach for a couple, 3 months now. So notice that in your body, feel symmetry, that bilateral weight bearing between hands and feet. Notice the congruence in your body when you have this. Okay, so let that maybe just be the simple appreciation of the heart, the simple balance between the two sides. Find your breath. Maybe you're pedaling a little bit in your feet. Even that can be a simple, rhythmic movement pattern of dropping one heel and then dropping the other. And then when you're ready, walk your feet forward and come to Uttanasana. All right, wag your tail, shimmy your ribs, your head, let everything loosen. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine gets long. And exhale, hand belt and fold. Let's do that one more time. A halfway lift, spine gets spacious. Feel the legs open up. Exhale, melt back down. Climb all the way up to stand. Reach the arms up in the air. Feel that extension. Breathing well. And then release your hands down. Take your feet either hip width apart or a little wider. You might even want to turn sideways on your mat because we are going to eventually go a lot wider, but we're going to start simply with feet maybe hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider if that is better to you. And we'll start with our hands just kind of hanging down so we can just feel this left and then right, and then right. And you can go just at a natural pace for you. Breathing deeply. Turn your gaze. Let your eyes do the movement too, your head. Notice your breath. Maybe your eyes are open, maybe your eyes are closed. But even if your eyes are closed, can you turn them? And now we're going to come up a little higher. This gets a little harder for me to have equality in my left and right, so I can't really demonstrate it well, but try to have an open fist, kind of tap on your kidneys and on your ribs. Nice and loose in the body, a little stability in your core. You can have a tiny soft bend in your legs. And now bring the arms out to the sides. You can let your foot leave the floor, or your heel, I should say. So we're turning your own pace. Go slow, go fast, go somewhere in between. Find your Goldilocks. And now arms up. Make sure your neck is nice and relaxed. Bringing your arms back down. And we're going to take our legs wider. We've done this lots, right? We often begin our practice in this way. And it's a great way to stimulate this integration of the left and right sides of the brain. So I'm choosing to bring my arms kind of up. You go where you're going to go, but we're going to
a wider goddess kind of stance. We're starting to warm up our legs a little bit, opening up and stretching through one side and then the other. Slow your pace down, quicken your pace up, and change the way you're moving your arms. Maybe they're out to the sides, maybe they're sweeping across the floor. There's no right or wrong way. We're just moving across the midline with our arms, and we're finding weight bearing one side and then the other with our legs. And then stand on up. Standing star, reach the arms up. Find your breath. Deep inhale. Exhale right down the midline into these goddess transitions. Arms up. Feel that symmetry, that bilateral harmony. One more time. Pause here for a moment. Ground through your feet. Lift your heart. Can you feel a bit of that heart coherence again? And rising all the way up. Heel toe your feet in, face back to the front of your mat, and bring yourself to stand at the front of your mat. Finding breath. Okay. Now we're gonna just warm up the way we usually do. So take the right foot in front, left foot behind, coming into that lunge. Hands can be on blocks at any height. Maybe they're on the floor, maybe you're flexible and easily reaching the floor. So whatever feels good, we're going to go ahead and bend and straighten the front knee. And by straighten, I don't mean you have to straighten it all the way. Just go where your body goes and feel that rhythmic flow of breath and movement. Come into a lunge, rising up, crescent lunge. Let's bring our arms up for a moment. Feel that extension in the body. Reach and lengthen here. And we're going to open it up into a twist. So turning our torso to the right. Turn your gaze as far back as it will comfortably go. Don't strain your eyes. Relax your shoulders. And then inhale. Back up. We're going to take eagle arms. So we're going to take our left arm. I can't do this, but you all know how to do eagle arms, right? So take your left arm on top of your right arm. Find your breath. Open your chest. And then we're going to lean forward in this eagle arm pose. Relax and bow your head. Unwind your hands. Put them on the ground. Back foot comes forward. Hold and relax. Soften your skull. Inhale for a halfway lift. Relax and melt again. Step your other foot back. Left foot is in front now. Finding that lunge. Open-hearted posture. And when you're ready, start to move with flow. Straightening the front knee, bending the front knee. Go as slow as your body needs to feel this sense of integration. There's no hurry in your practice. Right, and then find yourself in the lunge. When you're ready, ground yourself, and then come on up. Put your arms in a place that's happy. If you can reach them overhead, go ahead and do that. If that doesn't feel good in your body, make a different choice. Feel that extension, lift up, open up. And then as you're ready, we're going to twist to the left. Stay in your lunge, press through your front foot. Feel the midline, hug toward it with your legs. Drop your shoulders, turn your gaze with that arm behind you. Maybe your hands are on your hips, so you decide where you are in space. All right, bring your eyes back up. This time our right arm is gonna go on top of our left arm for eagle arms. Drop your chest, spread your collarbones, lift your elbows. And then when you're ready, melting forward. Maybe your shoulder comes to the inside of your knee, maybe it doesn't. And just go where you go. And then unwind your arms, bring your hands down onto the ground, come back to dog pose. Extending through the body. Again, feeling that symmetry, that bilateral evenness between your two sides as best as you can. Okay, let's come forward into a plank. Again, feeling that sense of symmetry. We're gonna turn our navel to the right, facing the floor still with your eyes and your chest. Back to center. Navel turns to the left. Chest and eyes stay facing forward. And release that, come back to neutral and find your way to the ground. Okay. Breathing deeply here. Let's roll the shoulders. And then when you're ready, a nice big open cobra pose. Exhale. Coming down. And again, rising on up. Melting toward the floor. If you're comfortable, stretch your arms out in front of you. Thumbs up. Arms can be wider than shoulders or shoulder width apart. If your arms don't do this, your shoulders unhappy, put your arms down at your sides. Okay, palms facing down if your arms are down at your sides. Let's do some contralateral work here. So let's lift our right arm and left leg. Feel that cross line across the back of the body and then melt it down. Switching sides, breathing deeply and then melting it down. One more time each side. See if you can feel that bridge crossing from your left to your right in your body. And then relax. This bridge crossing is happening in your mind too. And then relax. Now, let's see if we can do this a little bit more rapid fire. I just said that you don't have to rush in your practice, so your rapid fire might be slow, okay? This is hard for me to do with my shoulder, so I can't really demonstrate well, but you're just gonna kind of go a little faster, left, right, left, and just go at the pace that works for you. Engage your core, and then relax. Come back up onto all fours. Move around your spine. That was a lot of back bending, so let's release our backs a little bit here. And then come back towards child's pose. Settle your hips back toward the heels. Breathing deeply. Let's go ahead and cross your right arm on top of your left arm, child's pose, but your arms are crossed underneath you. You can choose to hold your shoulders or you can choose to keep your hands on the ground. Inhale, come on up. Arms to the sky, up on your shins. And then exhale, put the other arm on top, left on top of right. Come up onto your shins, open your arms out wide, and then place your hands back down onto the ground. Curl your toes under, dog pose. Find your breath. Let's walk our feet forward, coming into Uttanasana. Relax your skull. Come all the way up to stand when you're ready. Okay, a little bit of balance work here. We're going to stand on our right leg. We're going to bring our left knee up. Now we're not going to stay put here. I want you to imagine that you're slow-mo running, but you're not going to come off of your right leg. So we're going to stretch the right arm out. Maybe make fists like you were kind of running. left knee up, and then swing forward, almost like a Virabhadrasana 3, with your left arm in front, your left leg behind you, your right leg behind you. And we're just gonna go back and forth between, I'll show you from the side. We're gonna go back and forth at whatever pace feels good to you. And this can be a small movement if your range of motion is not so perfect with balance stretching out into long levers. Go wherever your body is comfy. Make sure you're breathing. And then come up to stand. Lift that left knee. Let's twist to the left. Arms can come out or hands to your hips. Right thigh back. I know that right leg is tired. Hang in there. And then return to the center. Pause here in the center for a moment. Breathing well. And then when you feel recovered, let's go ahead and move to the other side. So we're standing on our left leg. Our right knee is up in the air. We're going to start with the left arm in front, right arm behind, and then tip forward, switch your arms, stretch that right leg back, back, and forth. You choose the pace. Find a drishti to focus your gaze on. Feel that standing hip. Unlock your knee. Feel the core and the hips support your body weight. Doesn't matter how far out into those levers you go. Make sure you're breathing. And then when you feel ready, we're going to lift that right knee up in the air. Two arms come up if your body allows. And then twisting to the right. Drop the shoulders, left thigh bone back, left hip in. Unlock your left knee, reach your crown. And then place that foot down onto the ground. Take your feet wider than your mat, just a little bit wider than your mat. Kind of rocking your hips left and right. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, come down to a squat. Elbows inside your knees. Feel this bilateral loading. Breathing well. Put your hands down. Maybe on blocks. Straighten your legs. Take a big, huge breath. Then we're going to come back up to stand. Okay. Standing on your right leg. And you can do this with your butt against a wall. If your balance needs a little help, don't worry about the balance. Okay, we're working on this cross hemisphere work. So we're going to cross our left leg over our right arm on top of our left arm. Eagle pose. Take a deep breath in, exhale, squat into the pose. Draw your femur bones back. Lift your chest, lift your elbows, widen your collarbones. Drop your shoulder blades down. Squeeze. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your arms. Remember how good this is for your lymph. Let your vision, peripheral vision, be bilateral. And then unlock the pose. Standing star. Two arms up if your body allows. And then release. Before we come to the other side with your legs nice and wide, feel the ground. And then let's changing sides. So again, you can do this with your buttocks against a piece of furniture or a wall so that you have the support that you need and you don't have to balance if you don't want to. And when we come into this pose, we're going to stand on our left, take the right on top. And because our right leg is on top, our left arm is going to be on top. Now I can't cross my shoulder like this, so I'm just going to hold my hands to my shoulders. So that's a good modification if you need it. Take a deep breath in, squat. Squat and squeeze. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your armpits, your arms, lift your crown, widen your collarbones, lift your heart. Maybe even lift your elbows a little bit. And then unwind the posture, standing star again. Feel that bilateral. So if you have trouble like me lifting one arm up, put the other arm to the height that you want to have a sense of bilateral balance. So if there's discrepancy in your body, let the side that has less range of motion lead. And then relax. Bring your legs back together. Inhale, arms up to the sky, extending. Exhale, float forward. Relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt. Step your left foot back. Right foot is in front. Shorter stance now. Extend in Parsvottanasana. Hands on blocks if you want. Just open up that hamstring. And we're going to come into revolved triangle pose. So put your blocks however you like them to be. I'm stacking one on top of the other for today. Right hand on your hip, left arm reaches up in the air, extend, and then reach that left arm forward and bring your hand onto the blocks or block, whatever you're working with. Shoulders away from the ears, find your way into this twist. See if you can sense the internal rotation of your thighs, the wide sit bones, the groundedness of that front big toe. Reach your right hip back. Feel that sense of spiraling open. And exhale and relax. Back to center. Touch your toes. Squat down and wrap your arms behind your legs. Inhale. Come all the way up to standing. Stepping your left foot back. Two hands on blocks. Parsvottanasana legs. Squaring hips. Extending spine. How's your breath? So when we do a lot of these pretzel-y kind of movements where our lefts and rights are doing such oppositional work, we oftentimes can forget about the wholeness, the breath, the fullness of our body. So ground through your feet, come up to stand. Left hand on hip, right arm up in the air. Take a deep breath, reach that arm forward for a revolved triangle pose. Hand on a block, maybe two blocks. You can take your right hand out to the right more, whatever feels stabilizing for your body. Before you twist, use your legs well. Stretch your left hip back, ground your left big toe. Feel the inner spiral of your legs. Feel the roots of your feet. Extend the spine and only then twist and open. You can keep your hand on your hip. You can lift your hand in the air. You can turn your head or keep it straight and neutral. You can turn your eyes even. Let your breath help you here. Exhale and twist. Okay, coming back down to center. Bring your hands onto the ground now, dog pose, and feel this convergence back to the midline, that sense of bilateral symmetry, bilateral efforting equally. A full breath. Come forward into a plank. And then lower your body down. Take a bilateral back bend now. So anything you want. I would suggest bringing your arms down, palms on the floor, and lifting your arms and your legs, but you do you. If you have a different one in mind, that's great. Full breaths, feel the hugging onto your sacrum to kind of rebalance those SI joints. And then melt. Come up onto all fours. Move the spine around.
I'm gonna sit a little bit differently. So take your left foot on the inside of your right knee, your right foot down next to your right hip. So kind of like half your asana with your right leg and as if you were in Baddha Konasana with your left. All right, so your foot and your knee are making contact. And we're gonna do this, so let me just show you before you do it so that you know how you're gonna be. We're gonna be rotating from one side to the other with our legs. Okay, so we're gonna start out in this position and we're gonna reach over, hand behind you to support, and then we're gonna come back, let our legs tip to the other side and reach the arm over. And just going back and forth between these two sides. Find your breath. Whenever I do this, over time, I find myself inching toward the front of my mat. So don't worry if you're kind of moving in space. Breathing deeply. The hand behind you is not only supporting you when you're in your twisting, but it's also helping you transition to the other side. Breathing well. When you feel complete, come to lie down on your back and bring your knees to your chest. Simple rocking left and right, or simple rocking top to bottom, little rocking plow if that feels better in your body. So letting your back relax. Take your two blocks, or maybe blankets if you prefer, and we're going to bring ourselves into Supta Baddha Konasana with our legs supported on blocks, soles of the feet together, knees way out. And again, just completing our practice with this sense of bilateral neutrality. Just about everything we've done in our practice today was about contralateral movement or crossing the midline. So just see the impact of this in your mind-body, your body-mind. So you begin to rest here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Notice if you're fatigued, even not necessarily physically fatigued, but mentally fatigued from the practice. Sometimes it requires a lot of brain power to do this contralateral and cross midline work. So allow your mind, your brain to sink and soften and rest. You can even put your hands across your head somewhere if you want to. And let's take a little bit of, it's called a havening practice. We're just going to take our finger pads and kind of come up from the center of your forehead out, like maybe right above your eyebrows, and just very gently massaging from the midline out, maybe across your eyebrows, maybe across the bridge of your nose and then across your cheeks. You take your index fingers behind your ears and your middle fingers in front of your ears and just massage your ears for a moment. And then stripe down your jaw toward the center of your jaw and then back again. Maybe take your fingers onto your throat and just kind of stripe down. You can do this bilaterally. Get to your collarbones and take one hand right at the root of your collarbones. Kind of drag the skin down your chest a little bit and then lift your chin up. Touch your teeth. And then relax that and bring your arms down at your sides or out to the sides, wherever you want to be. Let's return to the havening practice, or not the havening practice, the coherence practice. And feel the heart space. And let your breath move deeply and slowly into the awareness of this heart space. Can you find an appreciation living right here in this moment? Focus your attention on a positive feeling like gratitude. Being aware of the heart space and the feeling of gratitude. Know that this coherence doesn't just live in the heart, but it lives in the brain too. Transition ourselves into Shavasana. Maybe you can just straighten your legs. Maybe you need a little extra propping. Maybe you need a little extra warming. Whatever it is you need, take your time.
movements of our body and space. Sink your body again. And bring yourself into a very full, deep, and beautiful breath. Feel into symmetry now. So whole body resting. Already invite a bit of movement. Might be just simply turning your head from side to side or wiggling your fingers and your toes. Coming rolling onto your side when you feel ready. And coming up to sit as your body is prepared to do so. Use your arms. Once you find a comfortable seat, take a moment and bring your hands to the center. Let this be this way of connecting the center of our mind, the center of our hands, the center of our heart. See if you can feel this integration, our two sides, our lefts and our rights, becoming one. Let's offer this centeredness. Again, feel that heart space. And offer your positive feelings to someone. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.